Okay, everybody. So, being a trap modifier, I get a lot of questions on lots of different things I do, and one of the main questions I get is how to offset traps. Now, in front of us here, we have half a dozen Duke number 4 coil springs. They're all either single or double laminated. All that high tech stuff right there. I just spray painted them, get the rust off, a few drags. But about 3 weeks ago, all these were standard jaw traps, and I went and offset all of them. And I get this question a lot: is what's the easiest way? How do I offset, standard jaw traps? And it's not that complicated. There's a lot of people who say you need to put them in like a lathe and have the gap cut out of actual metal. Some people use a drill press. Some people will wrap wire around the jaw. Some people will just put a lug on all the sides, and all those ways will work. But I just want to show you guys what I feel is the proper way to do it. So with these traps, I do the lugging method, which is basically when I do it, I come to one side of the doggone jaw and I just weld a little bubble. It doesn't really matter which side, but I just weld a bubble weld right there, or a tack weld. And then I come to the loose jaw, and then I just weld a tack on the opposite side. So if I weld a tack here, I weld a tack here. If I weld a tack here, I weld a tack there. And what that does is it makes a little offset, and then when it goes off, it's offset like that. Now, a lot of people say they don't like the lugging method because it makes the levers go down, but as you see with mine, my levers are actually higher than a stock trap. And the way we do that is, it's really simple. When the trap is set, or you take the springs off, you just take an angle grinder, and you come by and you just remove some material from these sides of the jaws, on each jaw, on each side. Take that angle grinder and you take off a little bit of material. It doesn't take a lot, but you just take off that material, and what that does, it compensates for this space these lugs took off, and lets your jaws ride up. And if you want to, you can actually take metal up all the way up to here and let your levers come all the way up if you want. But it's not super complicated. It's a really good way to do it, and it's really quick. If you have a welder, you don't need anything, you don't need like a Miller-Matic. I just use the little Harbor Freight right there, and just tack a bubble, take my angle grinder, grind, and I can do a trap in about a minute, 2 minutes tops. But that's because I do a lot of them. But yeah, and while I'm doing this, something else I like to do on other traps that didn't really feel as needed for these Dukes. So I go ahead and I just kind of widen out the debris gap a little bit, and that just helps with the clogging, especially if you're red clay like me, because I know last year I got one of the first Duke number 2s made. I traded a guy, and he knew the guy who makes the Duke traps, and he was able to get some of the first runs of them, and they didn't have a really good debris gap. It was almost closed, and I lost a couple animals with that trap because that debris gap would get clogged with the debris gap it had was like that. It was super tiny, and that debris gap would get clogged with dirt and stuff, and I it'll hold the jaws a whole ½ inch open, and I lose animals out of it. I lost like 3 different animals out of it, but I think they fixed that problem. But that's just something else I like to do. If you don't feel comfortable with the bubble welds, what you can do is when I first started, I actually just took pieces of metal, like a 20-penny nail, and I just cut a little chunk, and I just weld it in like this, and grind on the jaws a little bit. It's just a little Duke 1.5 double laminated, base plated, all that good jazz. But I get asked that question a lot, and I figured this might help some people out. So I hope this helps somebody.